Happy edTPA Pre-Approval Day. So we know that you've come prepared with your edTPA pre-approval and you are ready to lead the discussion with your supervisor and coordinator all about how you are going to instruct your edTPA learning segment. So what are you going to do in the time when you're not meeting with your supervisor? We wanted to talk through some of the activities that you're going to be completing during module time when you aren't meeting with your supervisor. So the first thing that you'll need to do is you're going to go to SED 392. You're going to click on the tab for the edTPA online module. And when you're going through the edTPA online module, you're going to look for the section on task 2. And you might wonder, why on earth are we talking about task 2 when we haven't even started writing task 1 yet? And the rationale for that is really because everything you need to evidence in task 2 comes with your thoughtful planning when you are developing task 1. So we want to kind of give you a little preview of what's going to be expected in task 2 so that you can make sure that you're planning for all of those things while you're developing task 1. So you'll see at the top of your page you have instructing and engaging the focus learner, and you'll also see here that you have your thought organizers and your instructional commentary. Both of those are just there as an additional resource to you when you are ready to start typing your commentary. You likely won't need those today, but you're welcome to look at those. Then we have a checklist for you of all the things that you are going to be working on today. So be sure that you use that as your own kind of self-monitoring tool for the time that you have available to you to make sure that you can kind of manage your own time. So the first thing that we're going to have you do is read an article about feedback. Feedback really is one of the primary focuses of edTPA Task 2, so we want you thinking about that while you're still in the planning phase. You'll see there's a link to a Google Drive, and within that drive, you'll find a folder and a document with you and your collaborative partners' names. You'll discuss with each of them one of these 2 articles. The third article is only if you are a collaborative partner group of 3, but each of you will choose one article, either feedback that fits or feed up, feedback, and feed forward. Follow the directions on the Google Doc. You're going to create a bulleted list about what you've learned, as well as discuss the similarities between the 2 articles that you've read. This will be worth module points, so you'll want to refer to that rubric on how you earn a 3, 2, or 1. Once you've completed reading the articles, you will independently participate in an ed puzzle. So there's a link to the ed puzzle and the code for you to join our class if you can't get in right away, or you can click the link within that's embedded and you can begin the ed puzzle. There are some questions throughout. It is a fairly new teacher that is teaching a math lesson to her students and wanting you to start looking for what are evidence of engagement, what is evidence of the feedback that the teacher's giving, how is she offering academic language, what might be the communication skill, just for you to start identifying within video clips so that when it's time for you to start identifying your own teaching behaviors, you'll know what to look for. Engagement is another big focus of task 2, but you really have to plan for that engagement in task 1. So wanting you to think through, what does it look like when my students are actively engaged? Because we understand that active engagement is going to look different depending on the site that you're at. So here's a rubric of the different kinds of engagement. But then there's a document that you're going to look for that has a lot of different engagement strategies that you might use at various points of your lesson, all the way from anticipatory set to closure. These active engagement strategies are all connected to research and theory. So we know within edTPA in each of the tasks, we are asked to make connections to research and theory, kind of explaining why are we doing what we're doing. So this is a nice place for you to start to see what is the research behind these active engagement strategies. Additionally, you're going to be including some of the choices maybe that you will put into your edTPA learning segment, and you'll include that on the Google Doc as well. The next activity that you're going to participate in is understanding cognitive engagement. This is a short Prezi that you and your collaborative partner will brainstorm some ideas of what does engagement look like in your classroom, because as we mentioned, we understand that engagement in an academic classroom might look completely different than engagement in an adaptive classroom. So you need to kind of start outlining and describing what engagement looks like in your classroom and considering ways that you're going to evidence that engagement for your edTPA learning segment. One of the last activities that you're going to complete during the edTPA pre-approval time is to watch a video that outlines the requirements for task 2 and your video segments that you're going to submit. I really encourage you to make sure that you are watching this video without a lot of distractions because the video component is so critical to edTPA task 2. The video really is the primary piece of evidence that you have to support all of the claims that you are discussing in that task 2 commentary. So please make sure that you are listening in a quiet place without any distractions. Additionally, just know that the CAMI that we talked about, that interactive edTPA handbook that's embedded in task 1, if you find that you have any questions after you've reviewed this video, that would be a wonderful place for you to pose some questions so that we can make sure and answer those for you. Finally, there is a summative assessment that you will click the link and take. It's just evidencing that you understand the components of the video, and again, a formative assessment for us so that we can highlight and clarify any questions that people might have. The last thing on this page will come a few weeks from now, but the what should I submit on live text, and there's just, again, a checklist of how you will name those documents. So moving back to that checklist that we talked about at the beginning of the video, you're going to make sure you open that Google Doc and include your name and your collaborative partner's name. If you could just make sure that you put your name next to the article that you're discussing and who is kind of contributing what within the Google Doc, that would be very helpful. Again, you're going to choose one of the articles each and you're going to respond to it. Watch the Ed Puzzle, respond to those questions, review the strategies for engagement, and include a couple of those on the Google Doc that perhaps you're going to include in your task 1 edTPA commentary that you want to talk about. There's the Prezi that you're going to watch on cognitive engagement, the video of task 2 requirements, and then finally that summative assessment. The one additional piece that you have at some point throughout the day, please do watch your collaborative partners Go React video and make sure that you're tagging evidence of feedback and engagement. We hope that you take some time together to sit down and really discuss what are the positives that you've seen in terms of the feedback and engagement that your collaborative partner has evidenced, and maybe what are some suggestions that you can offer that will help to strengthen their video when it's time for them to submit for task 2. Thanks so much for all of your effort today. We love learning and listening to all that you've planned for your edTPA and can't wait to hear more.